have across the United States a people that will stand with you. I've already explained that, and I'm confident in that. Okay? But the thing is it's not necessarily right for us or for the people to come in here and to make a stand without the people forming and being in control of it. That's what this committee of safety is where the people elect this committee, and this committee is in charge of those that will come in and assist across this country in defending the rights of this people and in enforcing the Constitution. And I'm not going to dance around what we're talking about here. We're talking about removing these unconstitutional agencies from Harney County and freeing the people back up to go ranching, logging, or whatever else. But the people have to, you have to exhibit enough organization to form these committees of safety so that you can charge and be in charge of the militia. That's what it comes down to. That is the proper way in which this is supposed to happen. And Ryan has explained this, and I kind of interrupt him because I'm worried about time. But that's what it is. So, did you have a comment?
Yeah. My name's Jason Patrick. I'm actually from Georgia, and the reason I want to stand up and tell you, he's right. I'm from Georgia. I know these two men because they did exactly what he said. I was working on a roof. I'm actually part of a militia. We train. We do that type of stuff. And somebody said, "Hey, have you seen what's happening with the Bundys?" No, I haven't. Send me a link. I'm on a roof, looking at my phone. Call my group. Hey, I need you to pull everything you can about this deal in Nevada, Bundy Ranch. I'll be there at 5. And I was working. I'm still reading, and I'm making a couple of phone calls. And I get over to his house, and we packed our gear less than 24 hours later from that call. Packed our gear, drove 48 hours to Nevada, didn't know what we were getting into because there was all kind of scare tactics. Oh, this was going to happen. And when I got there in the middle of the night, 1 o'clock in the morning, Friday before the standoff. And when I got there, I looked around and went, wow, we win. He says, what? We win. There's over 300 people here camped in the desert. That's enough. That's all it takes. And it's not violent. What he's talking about is he's written the grievances, and you basically have told a bunch of militia guys since then, because I got a little bit of a following from having done that, and I've been in a few other places, and I says, all you really do is say, no thank you. Huh? Me, him, and whoever you empower, you say, hey, we don't want this anymore. We want freedom in Harney County. We want our stuff back. Meaning you, we don't want the Hammonds to go to jail for terrorism. The Hammonds can't stand up and say, we don't want to go to jail for terrorism, and we want you to stand with us, because they're afraid. They're afraid. And the militia can't come to their aid unless they ask for help. So I got militia all over. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? There's not a lot we can do because they haven't asked for help. But the county can ask for help. You guys can form a committee of safety and say, you know what? We don't want our neighbor to go to federal prison for terrorism for burning grass. And we need help. And you know what happens? These gentlemen and myself and a massive network that you don't know exists probably goes, we're coming. As soon as you say, my county, we form a committee of safety here. I'm pleading with you, form it. And write some restitution that says, we, the people of Harney County, do not want the Hammonds to go to federal prison for burning grass. And you will see more assistance in this county than you've ever seen in your life. And we will say, no, they're not going to prison. The people, we the people, aren't going to allow them to go to prison. It's not violent. It's basically like, hey, excuse me, no thank you. No thank you. There's no terrorism here. We all live with these people. They're not terrorists. They're ranchers. Just like some other ranchers I know. They have rights just like I do, and you're not going to trample theirs just like you're not going to trample mine. And I want to tell you from my own heart, okay? Regardless of the militia. Regardless of the militia. I learned about this Hammond thing a while back. And I will go camp on their driveway by myself and tell the government, you can come get them. And I'll do it unarmed. You can come get them right over my dead body. Right over my dead body. You cannot come in here, no thank you. You can come get them. All you have to do right now, if you want them, is to shoot me right here. Because if they don't have rights, I don't have rights. If they don't have rights, you don't have rights. And America knows it. A signature every 3 minutes. America's primed. They're ready. And if you can do what he's talking about, I am not from here, but I am from here. I'm an American. This is America. Let's act like it. And I don't know how else to put it. That's where I met Ammon. I met him that night. And he's my brother. He's me. He has rights. You have rights. We have rights. Let's protect him. I will. I will. I don't care what it costs. I'll do it.
So, do we have any other thoughts, comments, questions? Let's get them out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just one more. You talk about a militia and that they can help the federal government if they need it, but also the 29th Federalist paper states that the militia can be used, as was starting to happen in Nevada, to protect us from a tyrannical
That's
government.
the reason why it was.
Yeah, that's a good backup to the Second Amendment. And I think the 45th and 46th are also.
It's not necessarily a backup. It is one of its intended purposes.
Okay, and also, I'll mention to you that in Lynn County, where I came from today, we've been getting together and doing some of this citizen, getting our food, our medicine, and other survivables together, and we're just starting that. So it's starting in some places. Sorry.
Yes, it is.
How many people does it take to start a safety committee?
It takes a body here, just like what we have here.
Let's form one.
Well, I would like to propose it.
Is that the next step?
I would like to propose whether the people want to form one or not. And if they do, then we can move forward. It's up to you. I'm not, at this point, we can help and assist, but it is up to the people to form the committee. And, but great question. Is there any other thoughts? Any other? Let's get the elephants out of the room. Let's get the fear or the thought of that we're doing something wrong or whatever. Let's get it out, because these things need to be talked about. We need to make some action. Yes.
With your letter that you have here, you wrote this, and then if I understand right, there's a second letter to come.
That's correct.
Can you tell us the process between here and there, and where we go from there with these three things linked?
So this was a notice redress of grievance, right? And what this is we are basically insisting that the county government and the state government, what we're doing is we listed all of the evidence of things that we have found that are wrong with the Hammond case. And I could go through them from the very beginning. Jurisdiction, they were not indicted properly. That the family or the government clearly situated the Hammonds in duress in an effort to take their property. And so on, of course, there's a list, right? And we've insisted that the county government assemble evidential hearing board, right? That they assemble an evidential hearing board of the people, and they look at all this evidence and expose the truth, basically, is what we're looking for. And we give them 5 days to respond back to us. And tomorrow is the 5th day, and we have heard nothing from anybody. I have reached out to them. This is,
Tell us again who you sent this to.
we sent this to Sheriff David Ward, Commissioner Dan Nichols, Commissioner Pete Reynolds, Justice of the Peace Donna Thompson, District Attorney Tim Callahan, Attorney General Ellen Rosenblum, Governor Kate Brown.
And none
Okay.
of them are here tonight.
None of them are here tonight. They were all personally invited to be here tonight. Okay? We-
I have a question.
Yes.
You left off, and my husband, I'm from Grant County, which
Okay.
is a neighboring county. But my husband asked me to ask you, why did you leave Judge Grassi off of it? Did you think he was because he's the head of the county court in the Oregon system.
Well, that's a good question, and I would say other than understanding whose duty this was, see, as a judge, he's supposed to be a neutral party in administrating the
But
due
he's
process.
actually, in Oregon, the county judge is actually, and he does have a few judicial duties that he's just recently in the last few years gotten, but he is the head of the county court. They just call
Right,
him.
you have to understand, though, the purpose of a court is not to get politically involved in any party. There's supposed to be a neutral party that administrates the court, the proceedings neutrally. He's not supposed to be politically involved and make political decisions and so forth. So anyway, that overall was the reason why. But really, there's only 3 people that really matter on this, and that is the sheriff and the 2 commissioners. They're the ones.
Grassi is a commissioner as well.
Okay, now maybe I didn't understand that, which is very interesting, that he's a commissioner and a judge, okay? Which seems,
They call him a judge, but he's actually the head commissioner.
okay, maybe you should have got one, but there's some conflicts there in the proper form of government, just so you know. You should never have a judge that's also a commissioner, never. That should never happen.
He's not a true judge.
Okay, so, anyway, maybe I don't understand, but that's fine. But either way, these were the people, I think the point that you wanted to bring out is what are we doing?
Yeah,
This
what do we
was,
do from here to the
yeah,
next piece
so-
of paper?
this was an effort to get the county to do their duty, which is to find out what's wrong and to ultimately, expose these corruptions and then, create a resolution that the sheriff and the commissioners can enforce inside the county. But it appears at this point that they are once again ignoring these things. And just so you understand, there are more people represented in the state of Oregon than any other state. However, I also want you to understand that every state in the union, there are people from every state in the union that have signed this thing, including Alaska and Hawaii. Okay? Now, if they ignore this, our intention was to do a notice of demand, which is listing all the petitions that have been ignored, which is great at this point. We have petition after petition. The Hammonds have exhausted almost $1 million in their legal defense, and the list goes on, right? To list those and then demand that the Hammonds' rights be restored. But we also, honestly, might believe that it'll probably ignore it. Okay? And then at that point, the people have done everything. We've also petitioned Ellen Rosenblum directly. She is chosen to ignore. We have spent, the Farm Bureau collected over 8,000 petitions that have been pretty much ignored, well, completely ignored. The sheriff has received over 3,000 emails from in and out of the state, and he has ignored them. Just gives lip service. And our elected representatives, the state senators and the state, or your state legislatures have also received thousands of emails. And those emails, all they were asking to do is to go find out about the Hammonds, and if you feel that the Hammonds were not dealt with correctly, to make a stand politically, do anything, nothing. They didn't even come to Harney County. Nothing, they completely ignored. And so my point is all of the prudent methods that are being put forth are being ignored. And so it is time to form a committee of safety because our current government is not even attempting to do its job. And to form a committee of safety here amongst the people and begin to enforce the Constitution. And that's what we're calling for.
The Committee of Safety in Harney County presumably would have to consist of citizens of Harney County, is that correct?
It's a representative form of government. So it's Republican in nature, meaning that the people who have a concern for their safety and the safety of their neighbor would then draw from amongst themselves the most trusted individuals in your community and elect them to represent them. And so the Committee of Safety then becomes a civil body politic formed directly from the people. In the same manner that you elect county commissioners and the sheriff, you elect members to the Committee of Safety. So it is an
I wanted
executive
to point out there are a lot of people here that are not from Harney County, including myself. And that this committee that we're forming here would be residents of the county.
correct.
Yeah, so there's a handful of people that are not from Harney County.
Do a show of hands of the people that are from Harney County.
That are or not.
Harney County, please raise your hands. 80%. Some of the folks are from surrounding counties. If you don't mind me asking, where are you folks from that didn't raise your hand?
Malheur County,
Which is in Oregon, right?
next door.
It's the next county that the government's gonna take.
I disagree, sir.
It is.
They're going after Baker County too.
That's our choice, and that's their choice.
Yeah.
And this is the beginning of a process by which we can halt the flow of tyranny.
So I'm just gonna lay it on the line. Who here as a vote, would like to form a committee of safety? All those four, raise your hand.
I'll help form one in Lynn County.
Great.
Hey, will you keep your hands raised so I can count them? Okay. All those against, please raise their hand.
Just got your vote.
Yeah.
Who hasn't decided?
You haven't decided.
There you go.
And just as important, how many people that aren't from Harney County will support these folks?
Heck yeah. Woo.
So, do we need to, well, you know this process better than me.
Yeah, and a lot of
Let's get with
this, there is a process that can be pursued. It has been pursued by the founders, so obviously there's a well-established process for this. But quite honestly, it's baselined as the three parts of government, and this representing the executive. So the idea would be then to nominate people from amongst yourselves who you think are the most qualified. It is an executive, so executive experience is probably pretty important. A knowledge of the Constitution is very important, and a trust from the people that you have their best interests in mind. Excuse me, is very important. And we need to understand is that as specifically being the people, it's people like myself who have taken an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution and its people that are looking for our masters. When the government is no longer abiding by the Constitution, where we don't have anybody to answer to, and we're here to defend you. So that's what this does. Anyway, you can put names forth, I would say, next step.
So who would like to or we're looking for nominations of who, was it a chair, committee chair?
You'd be 3 to 5. It can be as low as 3 people, because that presents a quorum that can be broken by one of the, arguments can be broken by one individual, or 5. It is a pretty good number, because you put together 5 people representing the people and their will, and they can probably pretty firmly make decisions. So nominating 5 individuals, and then that committee itself, those 5 individuals become the Committee of Safety, and then they decide on the administrative process that pursues. Yes, sir.
To pick those 5 individuals, does this need to go before the county at large? Or is this something that can be decided at this meeting, as this was an advertised public meeting?
What it can do is, yes, this was an advertised public meeting, so as far as it goes concerning this issue, you are the county.
Okay.
And what can be done by the Committee of Safety, if people here would desire to put together a Committee of Safety, as you stated, then, and you decide on people who you'd like to elect to those positions on that committee, then you can put out a public announcement, and should, with prudence, put out a public announcement that the committee has been formed, and that if there is an issue with the individuals on that Committee of Safety, then a revote can be taken, or they can bring up those grievances. But quite honestly, I don't. There's other people that you can talk to that are worried about this, where it's we know that not everybody can make it here tonight. That is concerned, and so as the concerned people, quite honestly, you represent them.
Is there a website or something you guys have that has information?
Committee.org.
The committee?
Committee.org is one website. You might want to write that down. But that's pretty simple. Committee.org has all kinds of information on the formation of committees of safety, their purpose, the historical context with which they were used, a lot of historical documents and such referencing who formed the committees of safety and what type of acts they took, which ultimately led to the Second Continental Congress and the Declaration of Independence.
So, with that being said, we're looking for nominations of committee members. Do we have any nominations for a committee member? Reaffirm that there is a tremendous amount that can be done for the Hammond, and all of us will benefit from it. Yes?
Yeah, in order to cut to the chase, I would like to request, if we're on this committee, that we be provided an outline of our next steps and our next organizational activities. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. If somebody knows how to get this thing started and get it going, put it on paper, get it to us, and we'll, and a list of the people who are nominated, and we'll take it from there and see what we can get done. But we need an outline, a guideline to start from, so that we don't fumble around for the next 6 months.
Absolutely. So that the process that we can go about very quickly to do that is an affirmation of these individuals who have been nominated, and then those individuals can get together and decide what a convenient and prudent time for them to reconvene is going to be, at which time they can decide how to pursue things.
So with that, we need to vote, and it's been proposed, and if we disagree, that we put a committee of 7 people together. We have 7 nominees. We need to vote on each of those to see if the people are willing to have them on this committee. And so I would like to propose Kevin Johnson. All those in favor of Kevin Johnson be on the committee, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Okay, Kevin Johnson. Chris Riles?
But it would open their eyes more, knowing the local people are saying the same thing that you're saying.
I agree. I do want to make sure that we understand that we do not give up, the committee does not give its authority up to them, though. That they hold it and that they call them to do their duty. Yeah, but not give up their authority. Great comment. Thank you.
Not only the committee, but everybody.
need to educate the people of this county so they're not resistant. I know a couple of times my comment to some of them was, you know, one thing that you've got to realize is that the people that wrote the Constitution were in support of the militia that was fighting against King George, and Washington was the head of the militia. So it's not a bad word that people seem to think it is. So education is key.
George Washington, just to illuminate a little bit of history for you, George Washington was called to the Second Continental Congress as a member of the Virginia militia. So George Washington was a commander of the militia. And he wore his militia uniform to those proceedings. So that, what you just brought up is a perfect point. I also want to bring up just very quickly, and I know it's getting late here, and the committee really quick needs to get together and decide what a good time for them to reconvene is. But the militia is under the same exact attack that the people are under. And we're being called domestic terrorists. You've already seen it in your newspapers that folks like us are trying to pursue illegal activities. Nothing that we have said has anything to do with illegal activities, and everything that we've talked about is the rights that are secured by the people via the documents inside this little booklet, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and ultimately your God-given rights. Thank you. That was excellent.
I just want to mention one thing, because I have heard the argument that the militia is morphed into the National Guard and that it's under federal authority. But what I want to mention is that the word militia was used in the Second Amendment long after the establishment of the Continental Army during the Revolutionary War. It was important enough that they still made the distinction between the regular army and the militia.
Yes.
And that is why the militia was used in the Second Amendment.
A regular army is prohibited in this Constitution for any period longer than 2 years. So what does that tell you about the Army the way we have it now? The reason that the founders did that is because standing armies have every single time throughout history been used as the tools of tyranny. Remember how early I told you about we've been sending our boys around this world invading other countries? That's tyranny. And so the establishment of standing armies has always been for the furtherance of people in power. And they acquiesce that power, and they use what's called a monopoly on force in order to tyrannize the people. The people have to decide whether or not they want to break that monopoly on force, and that monopoly on force is blatantly apparent here with the Hammond Bundy and in your town. It's not just a monopoly on force by presentation of arms, which the Hammonds, imagine if they decided not to turn themselves in on the 4th. What type of federal power do you think is going to be brought against them? And not just federal power, but state power and county power. Or the county standing aside completely. The sheriff standing aside and allowing these outside entities to come in and arrest his citizens. So the militia is...
No, he has given us no inclination that he was going to do his duty at all, and we give him a tremendous amount of effort in getting him to do that. Inside the county and outside the county, all support. We offered to assist him in doing his duty.
But he could have put a stop to it right from the
Absolutely.
get-go because
He
he is
should
the
have.
final authority, yes.
I propose that we bring this meeting to an end, adjourn this meeting, and if we could have the committee members meet here quickly, and just want to thank you for your time.